All right, so good day, everybody. We will be having our new lesson for today as part of world tourism or global tourism. So, for today's lesson, we will travel to South Asia. So, to proceed with our discussion, the first is what are the countries that are located or part of South Asia? So, these are the countries that are part of South Asia. So first one we have India, and this is the flag of India. So on the upcoming photos you can also see the different flags of the countries located to South Asia. So next is we have Afghanistan, we also have Bangladesh, Pakistan as well. We also have Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. So these are the countries that are part of South Asia. Okay, so but we will only discuss a few countries or chosen countries in South Asia that are or have or offers about different attractions and destinations when it comes to tourism. Okay, so first is let's discuss first the different facts about South Asia. So ano ba yung mga important information or notable things that we need to know about South Asia? Okay, so South Asia is a home to one of the world's earliest known civilization, which is the Indo civilization. Okay, so ibig sabihin yung mga unang tao or sibilisasyon na nabuhay or namuhay sa mundo. So according to the references, isa ang Southeast Asia sa pinaka unang naging civilization. Okay? Which is yung Indo civilization. Ang kasabay niya is yung Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. Okay? And just also to add, South Asia rather, is a well-known civilization na well-planned when it comes to their drainage systems, standards, weights and measures, and extensive trade network. So ah, nung unang panahon pa lang or during the Indus civilization, meron na tayong kalakalan or trades. Okay? So, sabi dito, ang Southeast Asia din, meron din sila mga extensive drainage system. Okay? So, nakapagpagawa or nakagawa na sila ng different drainage system during their era. Okay? So, moving forward, South Asia is also considered the birthplace of Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism, and Hinduism. Okay, however, okay, among all of this religion, Hinduism is the oldest among all of them. So dating back over 4,000 years ago, meron na tayong Hinduism. Okay? So moving forward, another facts about South Asia is it is one of the most dense populated regions on the planet. So ano bang ibig sabihin pag sinabi nating dense populated? Okay, so ibig sabihin isa sa may pinakamaraming populasyon or tao na naninirahan sa mundo. Okay, ang South Asia. So according to the references, there are a total of 1.9 billion people living in Southeast Asia alone. South Asia alone. Okay, so moving forward, now that we're done with the different facts and information about South Asia, so puntahan naman natin yung iba't ibang bansa na belong sa South Asia. Okay? So as I said earlier, we will only focus to the countries that have an extensive tourism activities. So now, let's proceed to our first destination. So can you guess where are we going to go? All right, so we will go to India. Okay, so India is a country that is a part of South Asia. So what do you think is the capital of India? All right, correct. So it's New Delhi. Okay, so hindi po siya Delhi ha. You're going to pronounce it as New Delhi. Okay, so the capital of India is New Delhi. So moving forward, ano yung tourism slogan ng India or their tourism campaign? So India is known for its tourism campaign na Incredible India. Okay? A journey of 1,000 wonders. Okay? So this is the official tourism tagline of India. It is launched by the Indian government to promote the country's rich cultural heritage, diverse landscapes, and vibrant tradition. So this tourism taglines highlights India's history, spirituality, festival, cuisines, and natural beauty that attracts various travelers from around the world. Okay, so please remember that the tagline of India is Incredible India. Okay, so moving forward, let's discuss the brief history and government of India. So the first one is India is known as the cradle of civilization, and it has a history that dates back to the Indus Valley civilization from 3,300 to 1,300 BCE. Okay? So as I discussed earlier, ang South Asia ay isa sa may pinakamatandang sibilisasyon na namuhay sa mundo. So part nun ay ang India. Okay? So, yung Indus Valley Civilization is doon located or nagmula in the Indian country. Okay? So, long struggle led by their figures like Mahatma Gandhi, they gained their independence in 1947. So, to be specific, they gained their independence on August 15, 1947 against the British colonial rule. Okay? So, as discussed, yung leader nila dito ay si Mahatma Gandhi. So, si Mahatma Gandhi, um, he led non-violent resistance movement or yung tinatawag nilang Satyagraha. Okay? So, yung Satyagraha, it is a civil disobedience, boycotts, and peaceful protest. So, wala silang ginawang uh, mga mararahas na pagpoprotesta. They just disobeyed rules and regulations that are not aligned with their principles. They boycotts they call this operations, products, and services, and they did a peaceful protest. Okay, that's why they gained their independence in August 1947. And lastly, they are a federal parliamentary democratic republic government by the Constitution of India. So, ibig sabihin, meron din silang um, democracy where the what do you call this, the people of India can choose their leaders, okay, that will hold the positions in their government. Moving forward is their people, culture, and traditions. So, ano ba yung mga way of life, beliefs, okay, traditions of Indians or the people living in India? All right. So, as you can see on the presentation, India is a melting pot of cultures with over 2,000 ethnic groups and 22 officially recognized languages. So, ibig sabihin, there are a lot of yung mga kultura, marami silang mga sineselebrate, marami silang mga festivals, they have a lot of beliefs, traditions in their country. Because as you can see, there are a total of 2,000 ethnic groups living in this country. And there are a total of 22 officially recognized sorry, it is not languages, it is dialects. Okay? So it is home to more than 1.9 billion people, making it the most populous country in the world. So ibig sabihin, pinaka-populated yung India sa lahat ng bansa sa buong mundo. So sila may pinakamaraming population. Okay? So moving forward, next is as part of their tradition, they also celebrating festivals. And one of the well-known festivals in India is the Diwali festival. Does any one of you know what is Diwali festivals? Festival, rather? Okay, so just to discuss, so the festival gets its name from the row or a valley of clay lamps, Deepa. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, this festival pertains to Indians' light outside their homes to symbolize or to symbolize the inner light that protects from the spiritual darkness. So, in short, in a simple discussion, Diwali festival is also known as the Festival of Lights. Okay? So, please remember that it is one of the most important Hindu festivals in India. So, ano yung sinisimbolize niya? Or sinisimbolo niya. So it symbolizes the victory of light over darkness and good over evil. Okay? So another thing that you need to know about Diwali festival is it is celebrated over 5 days. Okay, so day one, people clean their homes and shop for gold or kitchen utensils to help bring good fortune. Day two, they decorate their homes with clay lamps and create design patterns called rangoli on the floor using colored powders or sand. Ito yon as you can see dito sa picture. Day three, so it is the main day of the festival. So families gather together for Lakshmi Puja or a prayer to Goddess Lakshmi, followed by mouth-watering feast and firework festivity. Okay, day 4, this is the first day of the new year when friends and relatives visit with gifts and best wishes for the season. And day 5, brothers visit their married sisters who welcome them with love and a lavish meal. So as you can see, if you can imagine, I will also leave a link in the comment section about Diwali festival so that you can see it kung paano siya ginagawa. But as you can see on the discussion, this festival is celebrated over a long period of days because they have different rituals, okay, on a different days. Okay? So next is, another one is meron din sila nung Atihi Devo Bhava. Okay, so ano naman yon? Meaning, ito ay isang way of life ng mga Indians na ang ibig sabihin ay guess is God. Okay? Ito rin yung isa sa another tagline ng campaign ng India na to treat tourists as God and to develop a sense of responsibility towards our guests. Okay? Yung Atihi Devo Bhava, all of the meron silang paniniwala or meron silang traditions or way of life na yung mga guests nila ay dapat nilang tinatrato na parang mga Diyos. Kaya kapag pumunta kayo sa isang Indian family or you visit a friend from India, okay, so talagang very accommodating sila, very hospitable sila. They are going to treat you like gods. Okay? Kasi naniniwala sila that they have a responsibility towards their guests. Okay? So next, biryani is one of the famous food in India. Okay, so I believe we are all familiar with biryani. So dito sa atin sa in our country, we also have different biryani. Okay, there are also different restaurants who are selling this. So sa biryani, merong chicken, merong beef. Okay, and it is a mix of a lot of spices. Okay, next, their language or their official language is Hindi, but they can speak English as well. Okay, it is widely used in the country. Now, let's proceed to the 5 A's of tourism. The first one is their accessibility. So, the flag carrier of India is the Air India. Okay, so yung main hub niya is nasa Indira Gandhi International Airport in New Delhi. Okay, so Air India, as you can see on the photo, this is the flag carrier of the country. Additional information, Air India have an over 120 aircraft, including Boeing and Airbus models. Okay, and its international networks covers 60 destinations across North America, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Okay? So, ito yung uniform ng kanilang mga cabin crews and officials. Next. Next is Palace on Wheels. It is one of the famous transportations that you can see in India when you visit there. So, Palace on Wheels rail network is one of the largest in the world. Okay, featuring luxury trains in India to connect various destinations. Okay, so in another country or in our country, the trains are our daily mode of transportations. Okay, or usual mode of transportation. But in India, meron sila doong luxury trains na tinatawag nilang Palace on Wheels. When we say Palace on Wheels, it is a train that they converted it into a luxury, what do you call this? A luxury transportation where there are a fancy restaurants. Okay, there are crews that will serve you like gods as you can see dito sa picture. So itong Palace on Wheels na launch siya noong 1982 and it's inspired by the royal carriages of Indian Maharajas. Yung pinagkuhanan daw nito is yung mga kalesa na ginagamit ng Indian Maharajas. Pag sinabi nating Indian Maharajas, ito yung mga gods nila. Okay? Or yung goddesses nila way back long years ago. Okay? And yung duration ng journey nito, if gusto nyong mag-avail, is usually 8 days and 7 nights. So, usually 1 week siya. Okay? So, there are different um, arrival points that you will see when you experience the Palace on Wheels. Next is their accommodation. One of the famous accommodations in India is the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. Okay, this is the picture of the Taj Mahal Hotel. It is located in Mumbai and nag-open siya noong 1903. It is founded by J.R.D. Tata. Okay, so siya ay overlooking ng Gateway of India. And ano ba yung significance niya sa India as part of tourism? So it is one of the most iconic luxury hotels in India because it is known for its heritage, elegance, and a world-class hospitality. Okay, and also just to give you an additional information about Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, in 2008, yung 2008 Mumbai attacks, it was targeted during the 26/11 terrorist attacks. However, na-restored siya into its former glory. Another famous hotel in India is the Oberoi Group. Okay? So there are a lot of hotel that you can see anywhere or everywhere in India na pag-aari ng Oberoi Group or the Oberoi Oday Villas or Odaipur. Matatagpuan siya. Okay? So madalas siyang kasama sa world ranking ng mga best hotels. Okay, so link can be seen in the comments so that you can see videos of Oberoi Group. Okay, next is let's proceed to some of the attractions na pwede nyong makita when you visit India. The first one and the famous one is the Taj Mahal. So some of you ay naririnig na yung Taj Mahal. Okay, so Taj Mahal is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is one of the world's most famous monument, known for its stunning architecture, and meron kasi siyang romantic history. Okay, kung bakit siya um, naging kilala. So ito ang romantic history niya is mausoleum talaga siya or ginawa siya para maging isang mausoleo. So sino yung gumawa niyan? Yung gumawa niyan ay si Shah Jahan noong 1632 para doon sa or in memory doon sa namayapa niyang asawa na si Mumtaz Mahal. Okay? So that's why ang pangalan ng attraction na to ay Taj Mahal kasi ito is to commemorate the late wife of Shah Jahan. Okay, so imagine ganun ka kamahal ng partner mo at pinagtayo ka ng ganito kaganda at kalaking mausolea para i-commemorize yung mga um, what do you call this, important things about you. Okay, that's why Taj Mahal is one of the famous attractions in India. Another one is ito naman ay para sa mga activities na pwede nyong gawin when you visit India. So, para sa mga adventurous dyan at naghahanap ng mga adrenaline rush, you can do trekking in the Himalayas. Okay? Specifically, yung Makha Valley Trek. Yun ay located between the borders of India to Ladakh. Okay? So, since yung duration nito is 6 to 9 days. Imagine, sobrang haba nung trek na gagawin nyo. Okay? So, yung altitude or yung taas is 5,200 meters. So, ang taas niya. And, ano ba yung pwedeng highlights nyo dito while you are doing the activity? So, you can encounter or you can engage with Tibetan culture, monasteries, makikita nyo din dun yung Ladakh's unique desert mountain terrain. Okay? Another one is you can also do camel safari. So, in India, meron din silang mga ganitong activities. And lastly, ano ba yung mga amenities na pwede nating makita or i-expect when we are visiting India or when we plan to visit India? So, first is meron naman tayo doong mga tourist information center na pwede kayong i-assist or magbigay ng information sa inyo about India, about their tours, rules and regulations, so on and so forth. So, meron din naman dong mga ride hailing like Grab, Uber, okay? So, hindi kayo magwo-worry when it comes to the transportation. And also, meron din silang mga tour guides, English-speaking tour guide that they can assist you during your travel. And itong pink one, meron din naman sila doon mga hospitals, okay? So, medical facilities to assist you during your travel. Okay, so these are the information about India. So, are you now ready to move to our next destination? All right. So, moving forward is um Nepal. Okay, so we will proceed to the next country as part of South Asia, which is Nepal. So, can anyone guess what is the capital of Nepal? All right, so correct. So, it's Kathmandu. So, the capital of Nepal is Kathmandu. Okay, so next is what is the tourism tagline of Nepal? So their tourism tagline is back on top of the world. Why do you think so? Bakit ito yung tourism tagline nila? Okay? So later on, malalaman natin bakit ito ang tourism tagline ng Nepal, which is the back on top of the world. So what are some of the interesting facts that we need to know about Nepal? The first one is Lumbini, located in southern Nepal, is the birthplace of Siddhartha Gautama or yung mas kilala natin as Buddha. Okay, so dito nanggaling or dito yung birthplace ni Buddha. So it is considered as UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay? Pag sinabi nating World UNESCO Heritage Site, ito yung mga attractions or destinations na pine-preserve or pinapangalagaan because its significance in the history of the world. Okay? So, another one is, ang Nepal ay kilala din as adventure capital of South Asia, which later on we will discuss why. Let's proceed to the brief history and government of Nepal. So, Nepal is the only Hindu kingdom in the world until 2008 when it became a secular federal democratic republic. So, until 2008, ang Nepal ay ang kahulihang Hindu kingdom. Ibig sabihin, sila lang yung what do you call this, ang bansa sa mundo na nag na ang religion ay Hinduism until 2008. However, after 2008, naging secular Federal Democratic Republic na sila. Ibig sabihin, meron ng mga ibang religion na napapractice in the country. And Federal Democratic Republic, ibig sabihin, there are also democracy when it comes to choosing their leaders to the government. Next, Nepal has a constitutional framework with a multi-party parliamentary system. So, ganun din, there are different sectors of leaders from the government. Next, people, culture, and traditions of Nepal. So, the first one is Sherpas. So, ito yung iba't ibang uri ng category ng mga tao sa Nepal. Yung una, yung tinatawag nilang Sherpas. So, ganito yung itsura nila or yung look nila. As you can see, Sherpas, pag sila ay Sherpas, ibig sabihin, these are the people na merong mountaineering skills. Ito yung mga tao na magaling or skilled when it comes to the mountains. They know the ins and outs in the mountains. So their skills, their survival skills is fit in the mountains kasi mostly doon sila nakatira or doon sila nag-stay. Another one is yung Tarus. Tarus and Newars. So, ibig sabihin ng Tarus and Newars, these are the indigenous people of the Kathmandu Valley. Sabihin, matagal na silang um, yung way of life nila or yung mga cultures nila is nung way back the civilizations pa ng Nepal. And until now ay na-preserve pa din nila yun. Okay, so Tarus and Newars, yung mga indigenous people. And lastly, yung mga Gurungs. Yung mga Gurungs naman, as you can see in the picture, they are living in hills or sa mga burol. Okay, so this is their photos and how they look. Okay, so these are the people of Nepal. So we have Sherpas, Tarus, Newars, and Gurungs. Next, Nepal art. So Nepali or Nepali people uh, really love arts. Okay, so they have the Tangka painting. As you can see, ganito yung itsura ng mga tangka painting nila. Very colorful, okay? There are a lot of details when it comes to their paintings. Also, they are fond of wood carving, okay, as you can see on the photo. And handmade paper crafts. But as you can see on the photos, ano yung similarity ng mga arts na meron ng Nepali people? Anyone? You can answer via comment section. Okay, very good. So, the similarity as you can see dito sa photos, mostly lahat ng arts nila ay may kaugnayan sa kanilang gods, which is si Buddha. Okay, as you can see, halos yung mga makikita nyo doon na arts nila, ang drawing nila, ang mga carvings nila and the crafts that they are doing ay lagi nilang ini-incorporate yung gods nila, which is si Buddha. Okay? Next, dalbat is one of the famous food in India. So this is also their national dish. Okay, so it is composed of lentil with rice, often serves with vegetable, pickles, and curry. Parang sa atin, yung tuwing Friday, munggo. 'Di ba? Yung munggo yung katulad sa atin. But sa kanila, ang tawag ay dalbat. Okay? Now, let's proceed to the 5 A's of tourism in Nepal. First is their flag carrier is the Nepal Airlines. Okay? So, this is their flag carrier, the Nepal Airlines. So, it is formerly known as Royal Nepal. Okay? So, one of the it was founded in 1958. So, dati ang tawag sa kanya Royal Nepal. However, now is Nepal Airlines na. So, ang kanyang headquarter ay located sa Kathmandu, and naka-base yung main hub niya ay nasa Tribhuvan International Airport located in Kathmandu. Okay? One of the notable information about Nepal Airlines, since it was founded in 1958, one of their challenges is yung mga fleet nila masyado ng luma. Okay? And syempre, there are a lot of competition nowadays with the private airlines. That's why nagkakaroon sila ng financial struggles when it comes to the passengers. Kasi nga sobrang luma na ng mga fleet nila. Okay? Next, activities that you can do, accommodations that you can see or avail when you visit Nepal. There are glamping and mountain lodges. Uso to yung mga glamping and mountain lodges dun sa Nepal. So these are some of the photos of lodges and glamping site in Nepal. Okay? Next, famous attractions that you can see in Nepal. Okay, so the famous one is the Mount Everest. So now, sasagutin na natin bakit ang tagline ng Nepal is back on top of the world. Why? Because Mount Everest is located in Nepal, and this mountain is the tallest mountain on earth. Okay, it is located in the Himalayas on the Nepal-Tibet border. Another term for Mount Everest sa Nepal, ang tawag sa kanya Sagarmatha. Okay? Sa Tibet naman, ang tawag is Chomolungma. Okay? So, this is one of the famous attractions that you can see when you visit Nepal. So, ma'am, kailan po yung best season para mag-travel or pumunta dito or mag-climb sa Mount Everest? So, best is April to May kasi spring season yon. And September to October, which is autumn. Okay? So, however, merong mga disclaimer dito sa Mount Everest. Siyempre, kailangan ay sanay ka sa hiking and hindi siya pwede sa mga beginners. Kasi nga, there are a lot of dangers dito sa attraction na to, katulad ng avalanche, sobrang lamig, altitude sickness, and yung the death zone. Ibig sabihin na kaya siya tinawag na death zone kasi doon sa lugar na yon or sa location na yon, which is above 8,000 meters yung taas, there are a lot of people or mountaineers and hikers na nag-attempt na makaakyat sa death zone. However, hindi nila nakayanan yung mga dangers. That's why hindi na sila nakabalik or hindi na sila nakasurvive. Okay? But to give you some information about the records, kung sino yung mga nakaakyat ng Mount Everest. Una is si Kamirita Sherpa ng Nepal. Siya yung may pinakamadaming records ng most ascents. Okay? As of 2023. When we say most ascent, yung ilang beses siyang nagpabalik-balik. Okay? Dito sa Mount Everest. A total of 28 times siyang nakaakyat. Okay? Another naman is yung unang babae na nakaakyat sa summit ay taga-Japan, which is nangyari noong 1975, si Junko Tabei. Okay? And last one, yung pinakabata na nakaakyat sa Mount Everest, which is a 13-year-old boy in 2010, si Jordan Romero, located or nakatira siya sa USA. Okay? So, those are some of the informations about Mount Everest. Next, activities that you can do in Nepal. So as I said or as I mentioned earlier, class, Nepal is considered as one of the adventure capital of South Asia. That's why there are a lot of extreme sports, activities that you can do in Nepal. As you can see in the picture, you can do bungee jumping, cliff jumping, hiking, water rafting, paragliding, so on and so forth. Any extreme activities that you'll know, you can do it in Nepal. Okay? Next, amenities that you can see or you can expect when you visit Nepal. We have trekking agencies, gear rentals, and guided tours. We also have Wi-Fi and mobile networks available. However, in some trekking regions, hindi na available yung Wi-Fi. Medical facilities and travel insurances. Ma'am, bakit po may travel insurances? It is mandatory for you to get travel insurances, specifically when you are into sports. Okay, because those activities are um too dangerous. Okay, and you have to cover yourself as well. And medical facilities are always available din naman. So these are some of the informations about Nepal. Now, let's travel to our next destination. Can you guess where are we going next? Okay, so now let's proceed to our next country, which is the Pakistan. Okay, so what is the capital of Pakistan? Its capital is Islamabad. Okay, our capital for Pakistan is Islamabad. So next is its tourism tagline. It's beautiful, it's Pakistan. So that's the tourism tagline of Pakistan. So why it's beautiful, it's Pakistan? Because Pakistan is known for its breathtaking landscape, rich history, and vibrant culture. And it has been promoting tourism for a very long period of time. That's why nag-come up sila dun sa tourism tagline, it's beautiful, it's Pakistan. Okay, moving forward, interesting facts about Pakistan. The first one is Pakistan is the only Muslim nuclear power country in the world. Okay, so imagine Muslim country sila pero meron silang nuclear plant. Okay? Another information is the Pakistan is a home to the youngest Nobel laureate, Malala Yousafzai. Ma'am, ano po yun? So, ito yung picture ni Malala. So, si Malala is an advocate for girls' education. Ibig sabihin, activist siya. Okay? So, advocate siya for girls' education and women's right. Specifically, doon sa mga regions na affected ng mga extremism or yung mga regions na there are a lot of violence when it comes to girls and women. So siya ay um, meron siyang mga humanitarian activities when it comes to this what you call this focus. And just to give you another information about Malala, siya ay na attack ah, na ang tawag dito, nabaril siya ng isang Taliban way back 2012 habang siya ay nagsasalita against the bans of girls' education. Pero nakasurvive naman siya and kinontinue niya pa rin yung kanyang advocacy to help women and girls of her country. That's why siya ay na-awardan ng Nobel Prize noong 2014 sa edad na 17 years old, making her the youngest ever recipient of the Nobel Prize awardee. Okay? Current work, so until now, tumutulong pa rin siya sa mga advocacies when it comes to girls and women. Meron na siya ngayong sarili niyang organization which is the Malala Fund. Okay? And hindi na lang ito in Pakistan. Ito ay worldwide na. Okay? And lastly, Pakistan has 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Next, brief history and government of Pakistan. Created as a homeland for Muslims. So, under the leadership of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So, ito yung itsura or yung picture ng president nila. So, since its formation, Pakistan has undergone period of military rule, democratic governance and political instability. Kasi nga, there are conflicts when it comes to their rules and regulations in their government. And also, their government system is federal parliamentary. Capital ay nasa Islamabad. And ang economic hub nila o yung mga kung saan may pinakamaraming industries or trabaho, mga businesses ay nasa Karachi. Also, ang tawag sa pera nila or sa currency nila ay rupee. Okay? So, ang code nun ay PKR. Next, in terms of their people, culture, and tradition, Urdu is their national language. And kilala ang mga Pakistani when it comes to their ceremonies, specifically to their weddings na very grand or luxurious, bongga in short. Okay, and it lasts with several days. So as you can see here in the video. Okay, so as you can see, ganyan sila kabongga mag-celebrate ng wedding. And hindi lang siya one day. It lasts on a several days of celebrations because they believe that the longer the celebration, the what do you call this, the noise in the celebration, the happiness, the sounds in the celebration, the more na mas magiging wealthy, fortunate yung marriage. Okay? Or yung couple. Next, the 5 A's of tourism in Pakistan. First is their accessibility. So their flag carrier is commonly known as PIA or the Pakistan International Airline. So it is their flag carrier and matatagpuan siya sa Jinnah International Airport located in Karachi. Okay? So just to give you an idea, this is the first airline to operate a jet aircraft. Okay, in 1960. And it is also the first non-communist airline to fly to China. So imagine, non-communist sila. Hindi sila prime minister kasi yon. Okay, so sila yung unang airline na nakalapag sa China noong 1964. And yung kanilang mga pilots and crews ay tinrained ng Emirates Airline noong 1985. Next, accommodation. So ano ba yung mga pwede nating i-expect na accommodation sa Pakistan? So, one of the famous accommodation in Pakistan is the Luxus Grand Hotel located in Lahore. So, you can watch this video. Okay, so ganyan yung itsura ng Luxus Grand Hotel located in Lahore. So if you want to have a 5-star class of service is ganito yung mga similarity or ganito yung itsura ng mga world class or 5-star service ng mga hotel nila. However, meron din naman doong mga available budgetary accommodation like Airbnbs, bed and breakfast, motor inn, so on and so forth. Next, their attraction. So, ano ba yung mga famous attractions na pwede nyong puntahan sa Pakistan? So, the first one is yung Taxila. So, yung Taxila, ito yon as you can see on the photo. It was one of the UNESCO Heritage Site in 1980. And isa siya sa pinaka-importanting archaeological sites in Asia. Okay, so the ruins of the four settlement sites at Taxila reveal the pattern of urban evolution on the Indian subcontinent through more than 5 centuries. Imagine 500 years na siya. And ito yung isa sa world first university. So ito yung unang naging school nung unang panahon. Ganito yung itsura niya. Okay, ito ay preserva, hindi siya replica. Ito talaga yung itsura niya way back years ago. So yung mga scholars na na-attract mag-aral dito sa Taxila way back years ago ay mga galing sa Greece, Persia, China, and India. And most of the subject na tinuturo dito sa Taxila or yung unang university sa mundo ay yung medicine, philosophy, mathematics, and Buddhism. Okay? So, very interesting. So, imagine, try to figure out baka yung mga ninuno nyo or yung mga roots of the roots nyo ay dito pala unang nag-aral sa Taxila. Okay? Next is the next attraction which is famous as well in Pakistan is the Mohenjo-daro. Okay, so Mohenjo-daro class is other term dyan is Mound of the Dead. Okay, it is an ancient Indus Valley civilization city that flourished between 2600 and 1900 BCE. So imagine sobrang tagal na nito na preserve pa rin siya. And during the archaeological investigations, yung mga archaeologists daw na nag-aral or pumunta dito sa attractions na to, there are a lot of human bones and other skeletal remains na natagpuan nila dito. Okay? And yun, dahil nga sobrang daming what we call this, skeletons and human bones na natagpuan, kaya siya tinawag na Mohenjo-daro, meaning Mound of the Dead. Okay? So, another facts about Mohenjo-daro is before ito ay sobrang daming water tank, okay, or mga drainage system. And pinaniniwalaan na ginamit yon for ritual bathing or religious ceremony. Yung mga nilulubog yung mga tao doon para parang ang tawag doon um, they call this baptism, bininyagan na sila ay belong na doon sa religion kung saan sila sumali. So, yun yung Mohenjo-daro. Next is what are the activities that we can do in Pakistan? So, as you can see on the photos, you can do different activities such as nature encounters, safaris, what you call this, visiting the different markets in the cities, and yung pinaka-famous talaga is yung trek sa what do you call this, sa Himalayas. Okay? So, kasi nga, Pakistan, Nepal, India are interconnected with each other. And yung haba ng Himalayas or yung mga bulong-bundukin or mountains doon is one of the target for different activities. Next is what are the amenities that you can expect in Pakistan. So first one is meron namang available na mga medical facilities as well that can assist you during emergencies. Next is their city tours. Okay, so or yung city, yung nightlife nila. So there are a lot of establishment that you can visit. However, doon lang sa main center nila which is the Islamabad or yung economic hub nila which is Karachi. Meron din naman silang mga English speaking tour guide. And they also have tourist information centers that can assist you during your travel if you need informations about their countries or most places that you can visit. Next, let's proceed with our next destination. So as you can see on the picture, can anyone guess which country are we going next? Starts with the letter M and end with the letter S. All right, so correct. We will go to Maldives. So what's the capital of Maldives? Okay, so its capital is Male. Okay, it is being pronounced as Male. Okay, so to proceed, its tagline is always natural. Okay, so moving forward, facts about Maldives tourism. First is Uh, Maldives is known as the world flattest country. Ma'am, ano po yung world flattest country? So, ibig sabihin siya yung may pinaka mababang lugar sa mundo. Okay? Flat. Okay? Walang elevation. So, ang ground level niya is 1.5 meters lang above sea level. So that's why highly vulnerable siya sa climate change and rising sea levels. Ibig sabihin kapag high tide, may mga islands dyan na nawawala kasi ay kinakain ng dagat, lumulubog. Kasi nga, 1.5 meters lang yung taas nila sa karagatan. Okay? So that's why there are certain islands na kapag high tide ay wala siya. Lumulubog siya. That's why walang mga inhabitants or walang naninirahan doon sa island na yon. Next, there are a total of 1,000 corals in various islands in Maldives. So, to be exact, 1,192 yung coral islands na matatagpuan sa um, Maldives and merong total of 26 atolls. Ma'am, ano po yung atolls? Yun yung mga group of corals, okay, sa different locations. So, nakaspread out siya 90,000 square meters in the Indian Ocean. And 200 islands lang yung inhabited. And imagine, 164 sa 200 islands na yun ay dedicated sa mga resorts or sa mga hotels. Okay? Next, ang Maldives din, class, ang kilala sa pinakaunang nagtayo or naggawa ng underground hotel and restaurants sa mundo. Pag sinabi nating underground, sa ilalim ng dagat. Okay? So, ganito siya as you can see dun sa video, para kang nasa museums pero nasa ilalim ng dagat. And the sceneries that you can see are the different sea creatures. Okay? So, yon. So, the Maldives is home to Itha Undersea Restaurant. Yun yung pangalan. The world first underwater restaurant. Tapos yung first hotel naman is yung Moraka or yung first underwater villa at Conrad Maldives Rangali Island. So, imagine the price of the menus and services that you can avail in this hotel and restaurant. Okay? Next, diving and marine biodiversity. So, kilala ang Maldives sa napakagandang coral reefs and marine life. Okay, so katulad ng mga nakikita nyo sa pictures. That's why isa siya sa destinations in the world when it comes to diving and marine biodiversity. So now, I guess you already know bakit yun yung tagline nila. Always natural. Because the products that they are offering to their guests and travelers are natural. God's creature or God's creation rather. Okay, they offer this kind of natural resources. That's why their tagline is always natural. Moving forward is just to let you know, when it comes to alcohol on the local islands, class, alcohol is strictly prohibited on inhabited islands. Bakit? Because Maldives is a Muslim country din. Okay, that's why sa mga inhabited islands or yung mga taong may naninirahan doon, pinagbabawal yung mga alak. Except na lang sa mga private resorts. Okay? Next, history and government of Maldives. First is Presidential Republic ang Maldives and Male ang kanilang capital and economic center. The government plays an active role in tourism development because this is their largest economic sector, meaning turismo ang bumubuhay, okay, sa ekonomiya ng bansang Maldives because it contributed 28% on their gross domestic product. And this is the photo of their president. Ang pangalan ay si Mohamed Moizu. And they are an Islamic country. As I said, bawal ang alak doon sa mga inhabited islands except sa mga private resorts and islands. Next, people, culture, and tradition. So first is Maldivians practice Sunni Islam. Okay, so their religion is Sunni, is Islam. So ibig sabihin every Friday, yung Friday ay nakalaan sa kanilang pagdarasal. Okay? Kay Allah. Next is, ang official language nila is Devihi rather. Okay? They can speak English but not all are fluent. Okay? That's why meron pa rin naman dong mga tour guides who can assist you. Next is, ang tawag sa mga Maldivian people ay Divihin. Okay? Or Divehin. Okay? Next, 5 A's of tourism. So, their accessibilities or transportation, ang kanilang flag carrier ay Maldivian. Yun yung tawag sa kanilang flag carrier. And ang gateway or ang kanilang main hub ay nasa Velana International Airport, which is located in Male. And another mode of transportation na usually ginagamit sa Maldives as part of their accessibility to transfer from one island to another island is itong ferry boat. Okay? Next, accommodation. So what are some of the accommodation that you can avail in Maldives? So one of the famous accommodation there is ito class, yung mga cabins or villa na nasa gitna ng dagat. Okay, na para siyang what do you call this? Sanga-sanga na villa or cabin. Okay? And if gusto mo naman is mas luxurious dun sa mga cabin at very private, meron din namang mga private island that you can see. So, ito yung isang example. So, ganyan yung mga private island that you can avail in Maldives. So, very, talaga, pricey or mahal yung mga amenities, facilities, and products and services in Maldives. Kasi nga, luxury talaga. And most of the people who can avail this is mga elite people unless you really save up for you to visit this country. Okay? Next. Attractions. Okay, ano ba yung mga famous attractions that we can see in Maldives? So, since Maldives is a country that is being surrounded mostly by water. So, mostly, waters talaga yung makikita mo. And, ayan, over the water talaga yung mga villas and private islands nila. So, yung villas and private islands nila, nagsaserve siya as accommodation at the same time, nagiging attractions na din siya. Okay? But, one of the famous attractions that you can see in Maldives is the Badhu Islands or yung tinatawag nilang Sea of Stars kasi umiilaw siya na kulay blue, naggo-glow siya sa gabi. Bakit? Ang nagko-cause ng mga ilaw na to, ito sa picture ay yung phytoplankton. Kaya siya tinawag na phytoplankton from its word phyto meaning light. So yan, kumikislap-kislap siya sa gabi. Ito yung sample picture ng isang turista na nagsuswimming during the night and dito sa Badhu Islands and nasaktuhan na may mga phytoplanktons. Okay, so this is the video. So imagine it's very magical when you visit this Badhu Islands. Lalo na kapag matsyempohan nyo na merong phytoplankton. So ma'am, kailan po mostly meron yung phytoplankton, yung visibility niya? So best time to visit is between June and November. Specifically, yung mga moonless nights or yung mga wala yung buwan. So doon lumalabas yung mga phytoplanktons para masaksihan nyo itong very magical attraction na to sa Maldives. Okay? Next, Tilafushi. So, yung Tilafushi is a garbage island, a man-made attraction created from waste. But I guess in my perspectives, for me, hindi siya attraction sa akin. But naging attraction siya kasi very unusual siya. Kasi pag titingnan mo, very luxurious, very natural yung Maldives. Pero meron palang ganitong part or meron pa rin palang ganitong situation doon sa Maldives. So actually, this garbage island was created to manage the waste. And na-establish siya noong 1992 to tackle the malice growing waste problem. Okay, so ginawa siya to fill the lagoon with construction, debris, and garbage. However, um, per day, dumadami siya 1 square meter per day sa patuloy na pagtatapon dito ng mga basura. So parang dito nila lahat tinatambak. Kaya parang naging attractions na din siya kasi nga it's very what do you call this? Ironic na the country is very natural, very luxurious, parang mostly makikita mo clean, magical. However, meron palang ganitong part pa rin dun sa country nila. Okay? Next, activities that you can do in Maldives since country of Maldives is being surrounded by water. So most of the activities that you can do there are water activities. Okay? So, next, amenities. So, what are the amenities that you can see? So, meron yung mga private yacht. Okay, so you can do cruising. Meron din namang Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is accessible but not all over the whole country because there are islands that are so isolated na hindi na siya naaabot ng Wi-Fi connection. And hospitals are also available in the country as well. Okay, so now we are down to our last country of Southeast Asia. So the next destination, the last but not the least, is the Bhutan. Okay, so Bhutan is also part of South Asia and its capital is what we call Thimphu. Okay, that's the capital of Bhutan. So Bhutan tourism tagline is Bhutan Believe. Okay, so that's their tagline. Facts about Bhutan. First is the only carbon negative country. Okay, so Bhutan is the only country in the world na mas madami pa yung inaabsorb nilang carbon dioxide kesa sa pinoproduce nila. Imagine that. Okay, so over 70% of its land is covered in forest. Okay? other facts about Bhutan country is high value, low impact tourism policy. So, sila lang sa mundo yung merong ganitong tourism policy. So, ma'am, ano po yung high value, low impact tourism policy? So, they control the mass tourism. Okay, by implementing a minimum daily package rate or the MDPR. Ma'am, ano po yung minimum daily package rate? Ibig sabihin, bago ka makapag-travel or makapunta sa bansang Bhutan, kailangan mong magpa-schedule. And hindi ka pwedeng pumunta dito kung kailan mo lang gusto. Okay, nililimitahan nila yung turista nila kada taon. Limited number lang. Okay? Wala rin ditong daily available flights. As I mentioned, meron silang high value, low impact tourism policy. Kinokontrol nila yung mass tourism. Kasi nga, yung Bhutan ay, they are really into preserving their country into its natural wonders. Ayaw nila nitong masira kasi hindi nila focus ang tourism. Okay? Which later on, I'll tell you their focus. That's why you have to create or you have to schedule your visit ahead of time. Hindi pwedeng 3 months, 6 months. Yung iba, bago makapunta ng Bhutan, it took them years. Okay? Ahead of planning para lang makapagpa-schedule. Okay? That's why they set the daily package rate. Di ba sa ibang country, kaya nating mag-DIY kung ano lang yung pasok sa budget natin. Sa kanila, hindi. Sinasadya nila na taasan yung mga rates para only few tourists can avail that. Meron din silang sustainable development fee. Imagine sa atin yung environmental fee. Imagine per day per tourist $100 ang kanilang SDF. So sobrang taas nun, sobrang mahal. Okay? So they are really implementing the high value low impact tourism policy. Next, the last Himalayan kingdom. So, when we say that the last Himalayan kingdom, Bhutan is known as the land of the thunder dragon or Drokyul. Ibig sabihin, ito yung isa sa destination in the world na still mysterious and least visited. Hindi masyadong napupuntahan ng tao. Kay koonti pa lang yung nakakapunta sa Bhutan. Kasi nga napakahirap kumuha ng schedule or napakahirap kumuha ng appointment and approval. Eh? Happiness over wealth. So, as I mentioned, hindi nila priority ang tourism because people in Bhutan, government in Bhutan, their priority is the lives of their people. They make sure that their people are happy, okay, over their wealth. Okay? Kung ang ibang bansa, sinusukat nila yung development nila or yung progress nila sa kanilang pagtaas ng ekonomiya, sa dami ng kita, sa dami ng investment, sa dami ng mga tinatayong hotel, resorts, industries, manufacturing industries, kabaligtaran sa Bhutan. Okay, ang sinusukat nila is gaano kasaya ang mga tao na naninirahan sa Bhutan. Because they prioritize sustainability, culture preservation, and the well-being of their people over their economic growth. Basta masaya yung tao nila or yung populations nila, they are good. Okay? Next, history and government. So, in 2008, Bhutan transitioned from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional parliamentary democracy. So, ibig sabihin, meron silang king, okay, na sinusunod. So, ang kanilang king ay si Jigme Kesar Namgyel Wangchuk since 2006. So, ito yung picture niya. Siya yung King of Bhutan. Siya yung Druk Gyalpo. So, ang king ng Bhutan ay ang isa sa pinaka-respetadong figure, okay, na nagga-guide sa kanilang mga polisiya sa kanilang bansa. People, culture, and tradition. So, festivals ay sineselebrate din sa Bhutan. One of the famous festivals na sineselebrate nila is yung Sechus. Okay? So, yung Sechus, isa siyang festival or a mass dance festival to honor the Guru Rinpoche or the Lotus teacher. So, yung si Lotus teacher, siya yung nagturo sa kanila ng parang what do you call this, principles and dealings in sustaining their countries. Yung national dress nila sa mga lalaki ang tawag go. Sa mga babae naman kira. Ito yung example. And mandatory sa kanila na isuot to sa araw-araw. Whether they go to their work or their schools or sa pang-araw-araw nilang pamumuhay. Religion, so Buddhism ang official religion ng mga taga-Bhutan. Okay? 75% ng population ay pinapractice ang Buddhism. The rest of that, they practice Hinduism. And these are some of the key religious sites that you can visit when you go to Bhutan. So, meron tayo ng Tiger Nest Monastery or the Paro Takshang. So, isa siyang Buddhist site kung saan pinaniniwalaan na si Guru Rinpoche ay nag-meditate. And the Chimi Lakhang, so ito naman ay isang temple for fertility. Okay? And it is well known for their unique phallic symbol. So when we say phallic symbol, anyone that you can share when we say phallic symbol? Anyone from the group? Okay, so pag sinabi nating phallic symbol, these are the symbols na para siyang mga objects, images, or structures na nagre-represent or nagre-resemble ng mga male genitalia. Okay? Kasi nga, itong Chimilakham ay fertility temple siya. That's why, yung mga relics doon or yung mga makikita nyo na what they call these symbols ay nagsisimbolize ng fertility, power, masculinity, creation, and even protection. Okay? So, mostly ay male genitalia yung makikita natin. And in terms of their food or gastronomy, yung kilala nilang, yung mga Bhutanese, kilala yung mga pagkain nila sa mga maaanghang. Rice-based din sila. So, hindi nawawala sa kanila ang kanin, parang sa atin. And mahilig din sila sa mga dairy products. And one of the famous food na pwede nyong na makita natin doon or matikman natin is yung emadachi. That's their national dish made of chili peppers and what do you call this? Melted cheese. Okay, so ito yung example nun. Next, language and climate. So their official language is tinatawag nating Dzongkha. Okay, naka-silent yung D, Dzongkha. Okay, so ito yung example nun. And meron silang 4 distinct season. Kapag spring, March to May, best time yon para sa kanilang trekking and festival. Kapag summer naman, June to August, medyo maulan, so lush greenery. Autumn naman is September to November, so cultural visit yung pwede nyong gawin doon. Kapag naman winter, so mga high altitude area, so meron mga snow. Okay? And cold weather. So now let's focus to their 5 A's of tourism. Accessibility, so their what do you call this? Flag carrier is yung Druk Air. Okay? So, or Bhutan Airlines. So, ano ba yung mga some important information sa kanilang flag carrier or their accessibility? So, yung kanilang airport, it is known for being one of the most challenging airport in the world. Ano sa tingin nyo based dito sa nakikita nyong picture? Okay, so isa siya sa pinaka-challenging airport around the world kasi medyo steep yung terrain niya or dahil nga napapaligiran siya ng bulubundukin, mahirap mag-landing and kung makikita niyo yung runway niya, ang ikli lang. So, imagine kailangan ng tamang tiyempo ng piloto kung kailan siya maglaland or ah, mag-a-arrive dito sa runway kasi nga sobrang ikli. And just to give you an idea, konti lang or bilang lang yung mga pilots na pwedeng um, mag-land dito sa airport ng Bhutan. That's why nililimit din nila yung um, flights kapag gabi. Kasi nga, hindi allowed yung night flights kasi nga mountainous, maraming bulubundukin, maikli yung runway, and wala ding radar na mag-a-assist sa navigation. So, ibig sabihin, yung piloto yung nagtatansya kung kailan niya ila-landfall yung um, eroplano. Okay? And weather dependent din yung pag-landfall dito or kapag arrive ng eroplano sa Paro International Airport kasi nga pag malakas yung hangin, may bagyo, hindi pwedeng malakas yung madaming fog, hindi pwedeng arrive yung mga airplanes. So delikado. Kaya konti lang yung inaalaw na piloto, yung mga pinaka-trained lang talaga. Next, accommodation. So, there are a lot of accommodations that you can visit in Bhutan. So, they offer a lot of luxury resorts like Aman, Como, Six Senses. So, these are some of the example of the accommodations. Attractions that you can visit in Bhutan. First is yung Tiger's Nest Monastery or the Paro Taksang. Okay, so, um, ito ay nasa tuktok ng isang burol or bundok. Okay? So, isa siyang monasteryo kung saan nandoon yung mga Buddhist. Okay? And pinapatakbo siya ng mga monghe or ng mga monks. Kailan siya ginawa? Sobrang tagal na, 1692. And pinaniniwalaan na dito nag-meditate si Guru Rinpoche. Okay? Nung 18th century. So, bago ka makaakyat dito sa Tiger's Nest, kailangan mong hiking or mag-trek ng 2 to 3 hours. Okay? So, sa kalagitnaan naman ng hiking, meron naman kayo makikita dong tea house para makapagpahinga kayo kapag hindi nyo na kaya at pagod na kayo bago kayo umakyat ulit. So, kailan ba yung best way na pumunta dito? So, during September to November, pleasant yung panahon or yung weather. So, open siya for visitors, however, hindi allowed yung camera inside the monastery. So, sa labas pwede, pero pagpasok nyo dito sa loob ng monasteryo, hindi na pwede yung picture taking. Next is yung Dochula Pass. So, ano yung Dochula Pass? Isa siyang historical landmark to build na ginawa para i-honor yung kabayanihan at sacrifices ng fourth king and soldiers na namatay or nasawi during the battle against Asami insurgents, yung mga nanakop sa kanila noong 2003. And there are a total of 180 stupas. Yung stupas, ito yung nakikita nyo dito sa picture na parang triangle na bahay-bahay. Dito ni inilibing yung 108 soldiers saka yung pang fourth king ng um, Bhutan nung sila ay nasawi sa kanilang battle against Assamese. Next is yung Fujika Valley. So yung Fujika Valley class, isa siyang, para lang siyang, hindi naman lang, para siyang, what do you call this? Wetlands na very greenery or untouched. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, walang kahit anong industrial sites dito. Mostly ay luscious greens lang or mga halaman. Pero ano ba yung highlight ng Fujika Valley? Dito matatagpuan yung isa sa mga endangered black-necked cranes. Ito yon yung nakikita nyo sa picture. Isa siyang uri ng ibon na dito lang matatagpuan. And endangered na siya kasi nga kokoonti na yung lahi niya. And activities, you can also do trekking and hiking doon sa Snowman's Trek. Yung Snowman's Trek is part siya ng um, Himalayas, and it is one of the world's toughest trek. Ibig sabihin, napakahirap akyatin. Isa siya kasi bakit? Medyo steep or mabato yung trek na to or yung snowman's trek. And from its word snowman, nababalutan siya ng snow. So bukod sa marami ng mabato, matatarik na what do you call this? Location, ikalaban mo pa yung lamig at saka yung snow. Na konting pagkakamali mo lang, pwede kang ma-injury or ma-aksidente. So, ilang days ang tinatagal ng snowman's trek? So, meron kasi siyang habang 347 kilometers. Imagine, sobrang haba nun. 26 days ang approximately, depende sa bilis nyo sa pag-akyat. Pwede nyo siyang maakyat yung summit. Puwede rin kayong, umattend ng mga cultural tours ng mga, Bhutanese sa mga villages nila Endong. So, mahilig kasi rin silang mag-celebrate ng festivals at saka yung mga cultures nila, you can visit it as well. Amenities that you can have, just a reminder for those who are going to Bhutan. So, strict sila when it comes to internet and TV regulations. Okay? So, wala masyado. Kasi nga parang ang focus nila ay tranquility, peace ko. So, kung naghahanap ka ng peaceful, tranquility, malayo sa ingay ng mundo. Okay, so gusto mo mag-me time, wala kang abala, hindi mo alam yung nangyayari outside the world, outside other countries. So you can go to Bhutan because they limit internet and TV regulations. May available Wi-Fi pero mostly major hotels lang. Sa mga community, wala. Okay, they preserve their way of life. Okay? Next, limited din ang nightlife sa Bhutan. Okay? Kasi nga, pinapriority nila yung peace, tranquility, and cultural preservations. So, kung ikaw ay party goer, mahilig ka sa bars, nightclubs, then I guess, Bhutan is not for you. But if you are trying to explore yourself, you want to meditate, you want to find true happiness, okay, you want to what do you call this? Discover your life purpose. So, Bhutan is for you. Next, there are healthcare services na very free sa mga citizens, specifically mga emergency medical assistance. Okay? Available din siya sa major towns. Okay? But for tourists, syempre, meron siyang bayad. Um, Unfortunately, for those na mahilig sa mga fast food, other international food, so wala. Wala pong fast food, walang Jollibee, walang McDonald's, walang Mang Inasal sa Bhutan. They only offer local and organic restaurants. Okay? And that's the end of our discussion. Thank you very much for being with me to the journey of Southeast Asia. So I hope you've learned something today. I'll see you next time to our next destination. Thank you very much, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to this channel. Bye everyone!